Let's talk about something that we may not think of as garbage, which are electronic gadgets. All of us have used video game machines such as Nintendo and PlayStation and computers, both laptops and desktops, and things such as cell phones. What happens to these items in your house when you stop using them or replace them with a new model?
Usually with all our electronic stuff, we just store them away in boxes and just put them in the basement or something. Never just throw them away.
We usually put them in boxes and either put them in an attic or in the garage.
Usually in my house, we just throw it in the trash or we give it to our baby nephews so that they could play with them. So most of the time, they're just laying around. Well, most people don't really know what happens to them, and a lot of the old electronic gadgets we use end up in other countries as e-waste, e meaning electronics. A lot of these get shipped to China and India, even though they have laws outlining this. Their people dismantle the parts and take out valuable metals such as gold and copper, and sometimes the plastic is broken down into small pellets for future use by companies. The problem with this is that there are lots of dangerous chemicals in the products, and people can breathe them in or they can get into the land and water. So, what do you think should happen to electronic wastes?
I think they should be recycled and made into other goods. Like the parts that aren't damaged should go into new products, because why waste money having to get new ones when there's perfectly good ones somewhere else?
I think the electronic waste should be damaged where it doesn't exist anymore, and they can make a new material.
I think that they should be sent back to the companies, and the companies should know how to dispose of them properly. So, do you think manufacturers of these products should be made responsible for how they are disposed of?
Yes, because if the buyer didn't want them or if they threw them out, the company made it, and so they should know, whether it's really actually broken or if there's any good parts in it, and so they know what should actually be thrown away, and what shouldn't be.
I don't think that the company should be held for whatever is responsible for the item, because the buyer has bought it, has probably signed papers for it, has done everything for it, and I think the buyer should be responsible because they're the ones who wanted it, so they have to deal with the problem.
And just like I said in the previous question, they should be sent back to the company, so I do think that the manufacturers should be responsible for it because they know more about the product that they made and they know if it's fixable or how to dispose of it. Have you seen any videos or photographs on electronic waste, and what do you think of them?
Yeah, I saw some videos of people in Ghana, which is in Africa, and they were in a field, and it was really nothing but really black dirt, and it was muddy, and they had computers and TVs, and they were just throwing them in the dirt and setting them on fire, and they were raking it, and there was smoke coming out of the dirt, and they were saying that it burns your eyes. The people who were raking it and everything, who were working there, were saying that it burns your eyes, and there were scientists saying that it could really burn the inside of your nostrils. And there was a pond right next to the field that they were burning all the stuff and all the toxic stuff. And there were actual animals just going there and drinking off of that pond. And the pond water was almost as dark as the dirt. And so obviously it was filled with toxic chemicals, and it's slowly going to poison the animals. And that's really bad. That's not sanitary at all. And there were little kids, 5-year-olds, playing in the actual field, playing with the dirt and everything. And I guess they don't have any idea how toxic that stuff can be, because it has lead in it and just stuff that could really end up hurting their brain and having brain effects on them. And so I felt like I feel sorry for those people because they don't know how much they're hurting themselves by doing that. So I'm glad they have a law that against that.
There's a man named Chris Jordan, and he's a photographer, and he takes photos of electronic waste. And he's actually taken photos of a circuit board, which he's made it look like a city. And that's really one of the photos that I like the most.
I've also seen photographs from Chris Jordan, and it's cool how he gets like just a little piece of trash, and then he makes it like as a collage, and he puts a lot of them together, and you could just see how much we're messing up the earth and everything, and all the trash we use like in periods of time, like in a year or in a couple of months, and he just shows us like all the things that we use.
I also remember from the videos on YouTube, this is really going to represent how much electronic waste we give to other countries, because there was a man and he had he had a pretty good sized room, and he worked with the e-waste, and he had his room there, and like there was a big storage downstairs or where in his shop full of computers and our electronic waste. And in his room, he only has room for his bed because all of our stuff, all of our secondhand goods are in his room because he has no more room, and that's just showing how much electronic waste we're giving off to other countries just to like damage their eyes and their noses and their brains and everything when they have to recycle it.
And a lot of people do that, like they because since they're poor in other countries, they don't really know that it affects them, but even though their eyes do burn, they still have to do it because that's the only way they'll get money, since they're poor and there's no jobs.
A man in Mexico has also built I guess you'd call it an island, and it's actually made out of bottles. He actually has plants that are growing from the island, and of course he does have it anchored. It is in the ocean, and I'm not really sure if he uses it to travel from place to place, but he does save the bottles for one reason, which is a good reason.
How about any movies? Have y'all seen any movies that show our consumer waste or pollution?
I saw WALL-E, and it was like it's a cute movie, but it really shows what's gonna happen if we don't do something about all the pollution right now. It's like about the earth it's like supposed to be really in the future, but the earth gets so polluted, like they have to build robots to turn like all the earth's pollution into little squares, into little bricks of like pollution, I guess, and of trash. And so since the earth gets so full of trash, everybody has to go onto a spaceship, and so they're living in space, and it just shows how everybody gets really excited because one of the robots they sent out from the spaceship goes to Earth to try to find any sign of any life, at plants, and her name is Eve, and she finds just one little leaf, and everybody gets excited and about that, and so they go back to Earth and they start they start farming and everything again. But I guess what the movie's trying to show is that we need to stop really trashing up the earth, or it might, you never know, it might end up being to where we'll be really excited just to find one tiny little leaf, and that we're gonna kill all of our wildlife and all of our plants if we don't quit with the chopping down trees and everything, and if we need to start recycling already.
No, I haven't seen any movies, but on Annalise's topic, like, I was thinking, like, instead of using plastic bags, we could use paper bags. I thought that would be better, but I guess not, because, like, it's still messing up our environment because we're cutting down more trees and stuff, and, like, we're using up the trees, like, faster than they grow. So I think the best thing would be to use cloth bags, I guess. Okay. Well, that concludes our show for today, and thank you for tuning in to the 411 show. Let us know if you would like to be a guest or performer on our show. Check out our website at 411show.blogspot.com, MySpace, and YouTube. And remember, it's always good to get the 411.